Okay, in the last video, I showed you how we took the Reference USA listings, okay, that we grabbed. We got like 250 USA reference listings really quick. And we took them and generated two files with them. So we converted for the directory uploader and also for global variables. And again, just to show you how fast that went, and I'm going to make one more point as we go. So I'm going to convert it for the directory. And here's what it did. It created a whole new CSV file specifically for uploading into the directory. This is the right format, and it's got the right columns in the right orders. All that stuff is done properly. Okay. Now, the thing I want to point out now, it organized the columns in the order I wanted, and beyond that, it renamed all the column headers to the right names and ignored everything else it didn't need. And what? Well, that's pretty much clear. So there's that one. Okay, and that was on a column by column by column basis. Now, what's the other piece? Okay, I want to make this clear because I'm going to show you how you can update these things to be under your control. Okay, the other thing was this. I converted to global variables. Okay, and it did all this bit. Now, notice what that means. This uses a multiple of 3 sets for each variable. It's got the title of the variable, the code, and whatever the value is going to be, row by row by row. Anybody not know what that is? Let me point out right now. Global variables. Okay? There are 3 parts. There's the title of the global variable, like listing ID. The variable itself is called a token because of the format, right? This open bracket, percent sign, close bracket with all caps in the middle, no spaces, right? That's a token. So that's the code. And then whatever the value is going to be right now, right? Like I changed the value to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that means on the entire website, wherever I use that particular value, it shows up that way, and it's clickable to there, all that kind of thing. Well, if I want to go and change the value to something else, and I just say, all right, let me change it to, 708998 even, update, just to show you, and I refresh, 7098, and everywhere on all the pages, anywhere I had the phone number, if I was using the token, it's going to update that token now on all of the pages everywhere. Okay, so that is the importance of the tokens, is that they make variable information, make information variable. And so with that in mind, the beauty is if we produce the first website, then it will use the first bit of information. If we produce the next website, it uses the next bit of information. And so this information will change website by website by website, except it would be a lot of work to come in here and change it. That's why we made it happen inside of Excel. Okay, this here is variable 1, title, code, and whatever the value is going to be for 250 websites. So in that case, it means this would be like variable 1, title, code, and the name, but for 250 websites. Okay, then here's variable 2, title, code, and name. Again, I can extend that out. Executive last name, which is a little L name, last name is what I wanted to call it. So you got first name, last name, company, phone number, everything else, right? So you see how that goes? It doesn't matter what order these are in, just keep them together, right? These 3 things must go together to form variable 3. Notice how it's spanning the whole set, right? That means these are together, right? Then variable 4 is together. Again, it doesn't matter what the order is as long as these 3 are together, and equals all the way out. And I can reuse the same ones and keep going. Now, that's kind of neat. So I showed you one case where it goes column by column conversions, then another case where it actually fills in 3 columns for each conversion. Now, like I was saying before, many people are going to say, okay, great, you used Reference USA, that's wonderful, but I have a different listing of my own, like all my own franchises. How can I set these things up to run with my own listings? I will show you because you're going to love it. So yeah, you can do that. There's one other thing I want to point out really, really fast. I just remember now. And I forgot this earlier. I should have mentioned this before. Let me get back in here. Okay. Just to make sure this is perfectly clear, right? On these pages, we put in the schema blocks. There's a block for the header section code and a block for the body section code. That way you can enter code that is specific to this page only. No other page is just this page. Okay. And then you could put in body section code for just this page. So if you have visitor tracking coding that goes somewhere in this page and you want to stick it in, you can put it in here. Okay, it doesn't have to be schema. It can be any kind of coding. If you have header coding, you can put it in here. For instance, for those of you who use the Google Translation toolbar, there's a piece you kind of need to put in the header and then another piece you put in the body. So you'd actually paste in the header code here, the body code there. Just don't break any coding, right? Make new room for the coding you want to paste in. So this would be your new coding up here, you know? All right, blah, blah, blah to the end script, right? Kind of thing. You know, whatever the coding is. And then you can have a space after it or not. It doesn't matter. Just don't paste it into the middle of any other coding, right? Don't put it here or you'll break everything. All right, separate from that. If you have body coding, something that needs to go inside the body, right? You can put it in here. Now you can put a lot of information in each of these squares, okay? Now for those of you who are just wondering, couldn't you already put your body coding into the page using the source code? Yeah, you could. You could stick it right here if you really wanted, or wherever you want to put it, you can put it up in here. So why do we bother to create this? Because we realize that when you stare at this and you're thinking, did I put the code in there or not? You'd have to click and you would have to start searching for it and look to see if you put it somewhere. It'd just be kind of nicer to keep all those pieces here where you can see them right away, right? So for organizational purposes, we stuck this here. But this is new and allows you to actually put information into the header of the page, which was not available before. You couldn't do it, but now you can. Okay, on a page-by-page basis. Now, in case we forget, there is global. Okay, you can still do global inserts into the header and the body, and that's over here. See the meta tags here? That's global. Anything I put in here shows up on all the web pages. And then script code at the page bottom. That's the same thing as body coding, coding in the body. Anything I put in here shows up on all the pages. Okay, so these are global, right? That's why they're here as general settings are global. Okay, but then now you have page by page controls. Whoops, and that's new to the template. So just want to make sure to point that out in case I forgot. All right, having said that, let me show you the next piece and you're going to like it, and that's exactly what we were talking about. How can we change the formatting to fit anything that you have? I'll show you. Let's go to the T2HA toolbar itself, okay? And there is a piece in there called Source Workbook. There's another piece called Feed Form Source. Let me show you what these two do. If I open Source Workbook, now you don't have most of these because these are older versions and stuff, so forget about it. Just think about the one I'm talking about, Source Workbook. Look at what we have. We have tabs that do different kinds of things, okay? These are some pretty awesome features, all right? The ones that you care about right now, reference USA to directory loader conversion. It converts whatever the original fields were, okay, any of this, it converts to this, DL tool output, okay? And then it has some default values that you can have automatically added. Like I wanted the word company to show up every time for listing type. What's that mean? That means that under listing type, it just automatically put the word company every single time. That didn't exist in the original. Okay. And then for subscription, I wanted the premium option. So that's like subscription level 2, you know. So I put that in for subscription. That's the point. The information is contained in here. And then because it's always going to be for the US, we put US here for the country code. Now, if you're in Australia or the UK or something, you can change that. Okay, anything that does not have a default value, it's just going to follow whatever it finds. So it's going to look for these fields and then create them this way. All right, which means you can use anything you want for these fields. You might think, what's with the blanks? Well, the blanks means there were no fields in reference USA for these, but we certainly wanted the output to come out like this in this column header order. So this is the order it generates the information in. Okay, and of course that's up to you. But what it's doing, it's saying create this, put that for the default, create that, put that, create that, put nothing in there, create that, put nothing in there. But look, notice that reference USA had this, so make that this and put whatever goes in there. This gets converted to that, put whatever goes in there. That gets, so yeah, you can literally overwrite these things. Now you might say, well, I don't want to overwrite them because I want to lose them. Then just start creating backups. Because it's okay if you have extra tabs. So you might just copy this whole thing, okay? Yeah, and that's kind of a weird thing to do, but that way I can insert and I can say something like, you know, ref USA to DL, right? Factory settings, okay? That way if I ever need to put it back, I just highlight the block of it, copy, and that way I can come back and just paste. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Now I might create a backup for this other thing too. Okay, again, I'll just like highlight the area of it, whatever. Okay, and I can stick that over here, say Control V, and I can call that, you know, like ref USA, you know, to GV factory settings. Okay, and I just know that means grab from here, shift click down to here, copy, okay, and that way I can just literally paste and it's identical, right? But there you go. So now you're in a position where you can change this stuff however you want. Now the really neat thing about this bit is it looks at the original fields and it creates more than one column. There's the title, there's the code, and then the third one will be whatever the information was for it in the third column. So you see how these two are completely different operations? With T2HA, the DL does one column to one column. But here, the GV does one column to what actually turns into three. This, that, and then whatever the information is. Okay? And there you go. Now, some of these I put some really weird headers in, and you think, well, I wonder why that is. This is because I'm not using them really, but I had to put something in here. So something that actually existed. So I use things that are obviously going to be blanks. I have an executive first name number 7 because I only did executives up to 29. Okay, so I could just use extra stuff like a ticker symbol. I don't have a ticker symbol because it was a private company, not a public one. Okay, I just intentionally would choose that in my list and whatever. I mean, there you go. So if you do have particular things you can bring off of your own files, you can use them in your own way. So you can create your global variables. You can create your upload to the directory with whatever sources you want, okay, for your information for all your companies. That's what the source workbook is for, okay? Now, what else do we have in here? We had the universal fixes, okay? That's actually on the other file. Don't save, okay? Universal fixes is on the feed form source, or it isn't. I actually have to look it up. So, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. It's using, cancel, the replace editor, but not this one. Yeah, okay, it's using the same one then. Was it that one? I think so. Yeah, I think it was that one. I can double check, just match it up, right? But then there you go. Replace anything with anything, okay? And it'll do it on the active sheet. Whatever sheet you happen to have open, it'll make those replacements. That's cool for doing things like getting rid of stray spaces or fixing ANSI formatting to UTF-8 or whatever it is you need to do. Okay, so these are sort of leftover from different things we've done in the past. And then concatenators are pretty interesting. You can say concatenate everything in one column with another, with another, with another. Anything else that goes on, concatenate that too. So it's actually operating row by row to concatenate that together and to concatenate that together. Okay, it doesn't matter if there's blanks, it'll just concatenate what it sees. But then, should we include the previous column? Yes or no? Should we include the column that comes after? Yes or no? That makes this an extremely powerful tool for being able to concatenate across multiple columns. You can make everything as clean as you want into just one cell, right? Because it'll take all of this and put it in one single cell the way it should be. Okay, and if something came before it, it'll concatenate it to this, like some coding would have come before it, because see how this is coding in the header? So we may as well concatenate it to the coding that came before. But let's not concatenate it to the coding that comes after, because we're not sure what comes after. See? So that's interesting stuff. All right, having said all that, you've got all that power, really. It's just a matter of thinking up ways to use it, but I've just shown you how you can rapidly create websites for different sets of clients at one time. You can download the feed file for any template you have and do runs for them. You can actually go through all the templates and do runs for the same companies on all the templates, so you can show them choices. How's that for interesting? Okay, there you go. That's it for this video, and we're gonna move on to the next thing, talk about the next thing. And that's going to be, actually, what is that going to be? The SI tool. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the updates to the software installer tool and how that really helps wrap everything together into just pure automation, excellent automation, so that all of your life becomes really easy in 2017 for massive growth. All right, hope you're enjoying this series, and I'll see you in the next video.